later, Silver Spring. 3 months later, they have this warrant out for my brother. His name is Stroud. He's down in Minnesota. Trying to remember his other name. Stroud said, look, I need for you to go with me to the Georgetown Pediatric Department. I said, for what? Because I have a warrant for my arrest for not allowing my child to receive adequate care or medical attention. And I could be incarcerated and my child could be taken away from me, and I do not want that. My child no longer has sickle cell. I said, how do you know? Because I took her to 5 doctors and she no longer has 1 cell sickle. I said, just go. So we went in there, naturally, Caucasians sitting there, white Caucasian woman, and I'm a black man. They have no respect for me. How could they? When they represent the very establishment that teach every black child and every black person. So if I was a white woman, and you come in front of me as a black person, I'm not going to have no respect for you, because I educated you. But no, baby, we have to educate ourselves now, and independent to that Caucasian education, and do our research independent to that research, because that research failed them. What do you think about us? So she said, Dr. Steinberg, Dr. Glutt, the sheriff, and another doctor, a French doctor, she goes through my dietary program. And she flipping the pages really rough. She said, now look, the little child brought to me was intravenously fed for 2 years. All her little life. Came back after 3 months, she's playing in the hallway with the rest of the little kids without the pain. Without the upper pulmonary disorder, because sickle cell, again, is malnutrition. Sickle cell, but wait, I like to veer off my subject and then come back, but I don't want to do it now because this is very tedious. She said, well, Dr. Sebi, I didn't see where you made any recommendation for protein in your dietary formulas. I said, this woman doesn't know that she's making a mistake here. Look what she's doing. Oh boy, did she let herself wide open? She said, what about protein? I said, what about protein? What is protein? She said, what do you mean, what is protein? Protein is one of the 19 amino acids, the building block of life. Numbers again, 19 amino acids. You see, these numbers keep popping up. I said, what did you say? Protein is one of the 19 amino acids which are the building block of life. Am I quoting her correctly? Yes. But is it true?
No, according to their story.
Well, thank you, but black people knows only that. I am not blaming black people or my brothers and my sisters for knowing only that, because that's all they gave us. But what happened, he didn't realize that one day, one of us was going to find a lie in it, and that's all it takes, a thought. And it changes perspective now. She said to me, well, you disagree with protein, Dr. Sebi? I said, well, wait. You are not even looking at the results. Look at the little girl out there. She's playing. When she was brought to me, you had her under your care for 2 years, feeding her protein. How many times a day did you feed her protein? For breakfast, for brunch, for lunch, for snack, for dinner. You fed her protein 5 times a day. If protein was so equitable, I think Akita would be healthier with you than with me, since it has been omitted. So I would have hoped that you didn't use protein as your premise or point of departure. Well, are you disagreeing that protein doesn't exist? I said, but man, I am a product of life, and whatever substance going to assimilate in me has to come from that same perspective, light procession. It has to be electrical. Why? Every element on the planet has a definite amount of electrons per atom, distinguishing one element from the other. A definite amount that distinguishes one from the other, that they could only unite with its own kind. Now, ma'am, what is the electrical value of protein? I don't know. I said, but ma'am, if you're going to use something as your premise, you should know something about it. Will you use that against me trying to derail my ability, and you know nothing about it? I said, you mind if I ask you one question? What is sickle cell? She said, sickle cell is a disease that black people contracted in Africa 10,000 years ago because the cell went through mutation. I said, our cells went through mutation? She said, yes. I said, well, if our cells went through mutation, then there must have been some extreme environmental condition to cause that, isn't it? I said, but man, when did that happen? 10,000 years ago. I said, man, why is it that your story differs from Dick Gregory? Dick Gregory said that sickle cell was given to us by God to fight malaria. I mean, when I heard that come out of Dick Gregory's mouth, I started seeing God as a Star Wars disease God. I said, look at this. God gave me one disease to fight another. How does that compute in our black head? That God is going to be so cruel to give me a disease that in itself is devastating. How could my biological structure be so equipped because of the presence of that disease to fight another disease? Does that make sense? But you see, who educated Dick? Dr. Steinberg, brother. And Dr. Steinberg is supporting that particular philosophy. I said, man, sickle cell is my nutrition. Sickle cell is when a child has been deprived of iron. The black man being electrical, being so high in carbon, some people call it melanin. And this is why I've been noticing the argument of melanin. Melanin, melanin, melanin. Melanin not existed. That's another word from the Caucasian. That's why they cannot find its origin in the body. It's mentioned. I could invent something and say it exists. How would you know? Words. Listen to words. Levitation. Levitate paper. But does the word exist? But have you seen something levitated? No, you have not. The word unicorn exists. Is there any unicorn? But the word exists. You see? We've been derailed. We've been removed from our mother. So in talking about nutrition, it's not just food. What kind of food? And how do we go about it now? And I thank Brother Sonny Carson for taking the time to penetrate that other layer. Because remember, we're growing. We're not as antagonistic towards one another anymore. I don't see Muslims fighting Christians or Christians fighting Muslims, and so, no, that does not exist no more. We finally begin to realize we are all brothers and sisters. I do not want to hold you up any longer because I could talk on and on and on and on. But we want to understand that the time has come that if the Caucasians deprive us of our food from our children that is equitable, complementary, then what is he saying? Genocide. It's genocide. How could you feed the computer a substance that will erode it? Thank you very much. We cannot allow that because our children are us. I was fortunate. I am married to a woman that has never, her children was out of her eyes for 1 second until they got to 8 or 9. Not 1 second. The breast fed from her up to 4 years. That's all my son had. So I didn't have to worry about son being in some babysitter. No, feeding him something that is, inconsistent. I didn't suffer that because of the wife that I have. She dare not send her children out to anyone, any institution of any kind. Cesar sucked her breast for 4.5 years, and that's all he had. And I asked him one day, why did you stop? Well, Mommy said it was hurting her. But it was good, Daddy. I said, Daddy had it good. And one day that boy came to me and said, Daddy, just go to the mountains. Drove my son to the mountains. Should I have something to tell you? I love you very much, Daddy. And he put his face